All right, guys. Just got done talking to JC. I got it. I was just in bed 30 seconds ago. I jumped out and I gotta make this video to tell you. Okay, ETs. Now, we're in the fifth dimension on Earth. Now, this is a perspective from the ETs, the perspective from the ETs, from their sight, from them, their perspective. Christ said, outer space is a void. They live in outer space out there somewhere. Now, let's say they live in Andromeda Galaxy, okay? Just for wherever the fuck they live, that's where they live. They want to come to Earth to see me, okay? Now, what he says, outer space is a void. But the Earth is a fifth dimension. And I asked him, is outer space part of the fifth dimension? He said, no. But he couldn't explain it to me. So he got mad when he goes, Jesus Christ, what do you want? You want everything? And I go, well, just give me the basics. No, he said no. So anyway, he said no, it's different. It's different from the space ain't the fifth dimension. A dimension has to have dimensions and perspective. So he goes, the matter in the void is the fifth dimension. So if you're flying through outer space like NASA knots, flying around in your tin can, you're flying through the void looking for another fifth dimension, something of matter. Be it a bacteria all the way to another planet or the sun or a gas giant or whatever the fuck. But anyway, he said, now if the ETs are on another planet somewhere and they want to come to Earth, they have to leave the void in their spaceship. Now they're in the fifth dimension in their ship, but they have to change whatever that shit they do and go into hyperspace, into the fourth dimension or the sixth dimension. Okay? And then they traverse through hyperspace, which is the fourth dimension or the sixth dimension. And they close the gap like a page, like the page sort of. He goes, anyways, they have to go there. They do not travel in outer space specifically. Okay, they don't do that. They have to fly to the Earth. Once they leave their fifth dimension planet, once they leave it, they get in the ship and they fly through space. They go off into space. But in order to get 60 million light years to our galaxy and then to Earth, they have to fly through the fourth or sixth, either above or below. And he said, as they approach the Earth, what they see from the fourth below, pretend this is the Earth, what they see either below in the fourth dimension or the sixth dimension, what they see is a bowl in the void. Okay? And he said, if you turn the bowl like this, you see flat. If you go like this with the bowl, it's flat, but it's a bowl. You don't actually see the Earth, he said. You don't see the Earth, but the bowl is the Earth, where the bowl is, in the gravitational fields and shit or whatever, in the fifth dimension. So the fifth dimension, that is reality, is like a bowl. He says it's like a bowl from the ET's perspective. So they come into the bowl, and when they come into the bowl, they shift back into the fifth dimension. Okay, so they leave the fifth dimension they leave the fifth dimension, and they're still in the fifth dimension because they're in the ship. But the ship, they have a way of, and I didn't get the details on how the damn thing works, but they shift into hyperspace. Okay, which is the fourth and sixth. When they get to Earth, they go back into the fourth dimension, where the Earth is, where all matter is. This matter. Okay, if there's matter and shit in the fourth and sixth dimensions, I have no idea. I have no fucking clue. I never got that far in asking questions. So he goes, now they're at the Earth, and they look at you, and he goes, they contact you by tuning into your spirit, and when they come up to you, they see you as a bowl. All people look like bowls. When they go into the bowl, okay, and they're looking for you, but they're they're right down close. They're in the bowl, but they're still in the fourth or fifth, sixth dimension. When they get down to the bowl where the Earth is, they can see, all you see is bowls of life forms, little tiny bowls moving around, animals, everything, trees, fucking dirt. The whole Earth is a bowl in the dimension. But he said outer space isn't a dimension, it's a void. So, okay, hold on. Only the matter in the fifth dimension. Only the matter in the fifth dimension is the fifth dimension. You understand? And you can leave the fifth dimensional Earth, go into space, and still see the Earth. But once you go into the fourth dimension or the sixth dimension, you see a bowl where the Earth used to be. You go above the Earth and you'll see a bowl on a grid. Like, not like a grid, but it's like, he said, from their perspective, you'll see a bowl. And he said, what it looks like is a goalie's net, a goalie net. So what he did was he gave me a goalie's net in hockey. And okay, now a goalie's net in hockey, it's not a board. It goes in like that, like a bowl. It's rectangle. It's rectangle, but make it round, and like this. So bend, get some rubber, flat rubber. Put your fist in it. Okay, and you get like a bowl, right? That's what they see. He says when they go back into the fifth dimension, or they're still hovering above, they're still in the fourth or sixth dimension, they come down to see you. They don't actually go into the fifth dimension. He goes, when you're filming their ships, you're seeing them come halfway in, materializing in the fifth dimension. They partially materialize in the fifth dimension. And there they do. But what they do is, and how they find you, Rich, is they tune into your soul. And then once they come to that, once they go to your soul, they see you as a bowl. Now, if they were to come into the fifth dimension, they would be just as physical as we are. Okay? But they're in their ship, and they can do all that. They got their own isolated spaces, super high-tech science and shit. JC never got into. But he's just explaining from their perspective coming to see me. And he goes, and so that's why when you see the ships, they're partially materialized, or 3/4 partially materialized, 3/4 here, half here, 1% here, 2% here. They can do whatever they want between that. So that's why when they're sitting here, when they're floating around my house and I'm filming them, the military don't come because they don't know how to track it. They don't know how to read what's coming through the fourth or sixth dimension, okay, to see us here in the fifth. That's why I film fuzzies, because that's what they are, fuzzballs. Because it's half here, and half there. Now, if they come right in, they can take that fuzzball, turn it solid, and I've seen that. Then you get your plasma and all that stuff and all the good stuff. Oh, and he goes, they come to you, they tune into your soul, they hook up to you because they know you on a spirit level, so they come see you. And that's how you get your UFOs. You sit there and wait with your camera and film. And he goes, you can talk to them. You can talk to them in spiritually, from your spirit, in the fifth and all the dimensions. Now, he never got into how many dimensions there are. I cut it off right there because it took me damn near 15 minutes of him arguing and kids are screaming and my wife. So, pretty cool, eh? Pretty cool. Now I get it. Now I'm going to go back and ask him how many dimensions there are. And he said that was just from their perspective, the ET's perspective. That's what they see. When they leave Andromeda Galaxy and they enter it's their perspective of what they see and how they get from point A to point B to me. So they go from their planet in the ship, go into the fourth or sixth dimension to travel from point A to point B. Once they get here, they can either come back, they can either rematerialize in the fifth dimension, or they can just hang out in the fourth or sixth dimension and give me partial craft to see, or solid. But they can't be messed with by our governments, and that's how they do it. So that's why you never see the ships around, like laying in the White House lawn. They could be right over like when I say I can feel them right there, I can feel them right there in the sky, but I don't see nothing. But then I'll see a craft over here, a little fuzzball, or a solid sphere sitting here, but I feel them over here. Well, they're in the fourth or sixth dimension, stationary, controlling this little sphere, this little probe, which entered the fifth dimension so I could film it, or people could see it, or they can buzz the White House lawn, and then I disappear. And they're super fast, and they can go back into the fourth or sixth dimension. You understand? They're in the fourth or sixth dimension right here. I can feel them staring right at me, but there's not a fucking thing in the sky. And all of a sudden, over to this side, a sphere will pass by, and this happened 100 times, everywhere, all the time. And I see it, I film it, but they're over here, and that's what it is. They're in the fourth. They don't cloak. There's no cloak. Well, maybe they can cloak, but he goes, they don't cloak. They're just not in your dimension, but you still feel them. So you think they're cloaked because you don't understand fourth and sixth dimension, because you're in the fifth dimension. That's all you see. And from JC's perspective and the ETs, from their perspective, because they have ways to travel to the fourth or sixth dimensions and travel. Once you're in these fourth or sixth dimensions that are outside of fifth dimension, you can travel from point A to point B in like no time at all, I guess. But they don't travel in the fifth dimension. Well, I've seen them in the fifth dimension. Or maybe it was just a partial, a fuzzy. I don't know. It was fuzzy. And it was here, and then it disappeared and went here. Maybe that still applies in the partial manifestation. I don't know, guys. I'm assuming it does, since I've seen it and I video recorded it, watched the videos. But when I was talking to you online just a little bit ago, and it's from their perspective what that is. Now I'm gonna go find out, some more about how many dimensions there are there. And Christ can't even explain some of it. He goes, you got to understand it. I can't explain it to you. You got to understand it. So, I don't know, man. I don't know what we're going to do when we get to that point. But I'm also going to, he said, go to sleep and you'll dream about it. And, well, if I do get a dream, great. I'll take it, right? So, just want to say that I got it. I got a perspective. That fit pretty well. Okay. Talk to you later, guys.